Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So just to go over the basic recap of some of the ways that we go through these videos, just in case if this is the first one you guys are watching. We pretty much go over 3 plot points. We go over plot alone, creative kills, and acting. Each category contains a total of 120 overall. Each category has 40 points that a certain category can have. And me and my mom, we both did this as a project together. So at the end of every single episode, we pretty much tally up the points. We find the median number, or the middle number, not median, but middle. And that middle number gives it its overall scoring between both me and my mom. So that is kind of how we do it. So let's jump right into it. This is Saw 6. Saw 6 was one of the strongest movies that I have to admit. It definitely built up and it was perfect, you know. In the first Saw game, we are introduced to 2 people, Eddie and the other woman, for whatever reason, didn't really get a name. But for the sake of this movie, we'll call her Hackoff, okay? Just kind of one of those things that will come later on in the explanation. She had to just cut off her own arm to be able to win the game, and she did. The objective of the game is to see the person who could give the most flesh, so to speak. And, and it was interesting. The other would be killed off with a device on their head. I thought this game was well-rounded and strong to start the movie off with. And it gave us the video explaining of why they were there. So, it was really good. Strong and well-directed. This movie takes place after the events of Saw 5, which now it's kind of like a no-brainer, right? Which I thought was, Saw 6 is just a stronger movie. So, I don't know why they wouldn't just make this one Saw 5, but here we go. So, Peter Strom's death is featured in this movie, but was included as a trap in the previous movie. So, to me, he definitely was no help in this movie, making me wish that Strom would have been a really cool follower of Jigsaw, which would have been playing up to the whole Hoffman conspiracy, right? Where he's just like, oh, well, Peter Strom is Jigsaw's accomplice. So, Mark Hoffman in this movie was an absolute legend, where we see him slowly fall into a straight-up murderer, okay? Where even the games that are played is meant to teach and that are winnable, but slowly becomes overcome with wanting to clear his name and the suspicion of him being the accomplice to Jigsaw's traps. We are then introduced to the insurance company that was supposed to help John to go to Norway, but was denied. Okay? The character build-up was perfect, giving us a glimpse into the corrupt and the diabolical setup for why John is, after his passing, was targeting these people that were involved in his life. Erickson becomes involved in the games that took place just recently, showing us that Perez survived. Her involvement demonstrates the unfolding of Strom being tied to the games and was actually Mark Hoffman, which was a perfect vice. Still giving the audience the chills when she comes out and speaks for the first time. Okay? So, if you didn't know, after the whole Perez's Billy trap, or the Perez's Billy trap, where it blew her face open, she was hospitalized, presumed dead. Then, Saw 5 took place, which was a total train wreck. And now we're here at Saw 6, where now Peter Strom is dead, and Perez is still alive. And Erickson, withholding this from Mark Hoffman, is now surprised to see Perez still alive. So that's something to take away from that. It's very interesting, very nice the way they built it up, and I like to see that Perez is still alive in this movie as we continue. The game specifically provides the perfect way to handle a big cast of characters where you have an entire insurance company staff have to be involved with the game. The janitor didn't deserve to be in this game necessarily. That's just one of my negative gripes about this movie. Yes, he's hired to do janitorial work, and yes, he's working for the insurance company. But do I feel like he had to be a part of the game just to make a pinnacle about how he smokes? I don't think so. That's just coming from a vapor myself. So I think that it's a big shot where I wish that it wouldn't have been placed. Okay, that's just messed up. They could have just opened it up like Saw 3, where they just had him in a crate. Okay, maybe with a tape strapped around his ankle or something, where he's able to figure out how to face the rest of his staff and go about it in a different way. But it is what it is. And like I'm saying, I mean, it's not like he was the direct line of fire for why John didn't get his claim approved. However, I feel like having William Easton have win the first trap against the custodian was bound to happen. Or else the roles would have been flipped, where I feel like Debbie is the CEO of the insurance company. I feel like she should have been placed up against, William Easton. Because if that was the case, no matter who would have won the game, it would have at least given us the CEO, or, and the custodian could have lived. That's all I got to say about that, okay? Hoffman's killing spree was an absolute best part of the movie, giving us the breaking point of wanting him to remain relevant in the movie, and giving us the perfect ending where he is then placed in his own game. However, Jill Tuck, being a noob to the game setup, was kind of irritating too. However, the movie overall was a masterpiece. Josh, played by Sean Matheson, hopefully I got that right, his infamous line, "Look at me while you're killing me," was the best delivery as a side character. I cracked up laughing as I watched his scene over and over again. I think that the carousel of death was the absolute best depiction of how to put the scene together. Okay, it just felt right. It felt natural. It felt like he had to decide. He had to choose between who's the best and who's the worst. And like I said, Josh, who is literally the last one to die on the carousel of death, he literally yells out at William, "Look at me while you're killing me," and he's sobbing, and he's about to get shot. So I thought that it was totally worth the watch of that scene over and over again. Okay, plot alone, 38 out of 40, which has to be the closest scoring to being perfect. While watching out for inconsistencies, I felt like this movie was close to being perfect in the build-up of the plot. The previous movie was an absolute trash heap, burned down to fine powder compared to the classic that followed, which is obviously this one. So this movie should have definitely been Saw 5. Then I would have been like, hey, dude, Saw 4 could have been like the worst, or Saw 2. For crying out loud. Like, Saw 2 was just a train wreck too, but this one was worse. Or, not this one, but Saw 5 was worse. Creative kills. 40 out of 40. This is the only time I've ever given a single Saw movie a total of 40 points. Perfect, absolutely perfect in all its deliveries. In fact, while looking over all my scores for every movie that released, my scores never agreed that anything could be 40 points. But the only 40 I gave throughout the entire movie franchise was this one, okay? So that's just looking forward as well. You look at, Jigsaw, you look at Spiral, you look at Saw 7, you look at Saw 10, you'll never get another 40. Okay? This is the only time I ever used a 40, and that's just for creative kills. It's not for plot alone, and that's not for acting. It's just creative kills. We have the Carousel of Death. We have Hold Your Breath, which is with the custodian. Labyrinth of Steam, which was, I think, with his... Oh, what was it? I think it was with the receptionist, right? The ending with fluoric acid. Okay, that's where, at the very, very end. Well, I'll talk about it here in just a sec. I think the fluoric acid trap, which was the perfect twist to the game. Then there was a reverse bear trap 2.0 placed on Hoffman's head. And one of the most understandable decisions, the Hangman game, where William has to choose who he is going to save, and pointing out one of the biggest flaws in William's rulebook for care, and hack off an arm, of course, in the beginning of the movie. I'm still crazy about this movie after talking about it. Okay, so this is definitely not number one, but this is definitely somewhere in there. Now, to kind of give a little bit of spoilers ahead, if I haven't already blown most of the plot, this is going to blow the rest of the movie. So at the very end of William's journey throughout all these traps, he's then met up with the journalist, which is William's sister, and he's also met up with the wife and son of another individual, which I think was Abbott. Okay, I remember the last name, Abbott. So Abbott dies after getting denied his insurance claim, while William is now faced up against the wife and the son, and the wife and son have to choose whether to spare him to let him live, or to kill him and take their revenge. The mom wants to do it. She has her hand on the lever. She's crying her eyes out. She's ready to pull that sucker. She can't do it. The son then decides to do it. He says, you know what? Screw you. You killed my father. Bunch of swear words. Pulls the lever. Boom. Over. The guy dies by fluoric acid. I thought it was cool. And his body kind of separates in half. That's all I'm getting into that one. That one's pretty cool. So, acting. 38 out of 40. Okay? Pretty darn well close to being nit, but not 100%. Giving us just some of the best acting, except Jill, who always, I feel like, is just out of place with each movie she's in. We're feeling like she just doesn't really act authentic in any movie appearance as the movie continues, okay? Just feels so out of place. She just feels so separate, just out of there, okay? Overall, the score was balanced out at a score of 110, and would hold a close and warm spot in my heart. According to other sources like Pappa, he would give this movie 6th place. Chandler would rank this movie 9th place, and Dalt, who can see eye to eye with me on this movie, ranked it 1st place, and IMDb ranked this movie in 4th place with a score of 6.0. Okay, so I re-looked over the IMDb charts. I was right about the score that they gave each of the Saw movies. But as far as where they fall as far as ranking is concerned, that was a little bit confusing. So this is just to help fix that little issue. So Saw 5 is in 6th place. Saw 6 is in 4th place. And Saw 4 is in 5th place. So a little bit intertwined with each other there in the middle. This movie is not in 1st place in my rankings, which might come as a surprise, because that means that one of the last movies, either Saw 7, Jigsaw, or Spiral, or Saw 10, would be the top place of my list. And I think you're not ready for the plot twist I have for you. Stay tuned, because you will find out who is the best and who is the absolute dog trash worst. Okay? Which I think we already know which one is the worst, which is Saw 5. So that's just being flat out base. Okay? Saw 5 is bottom. Then there's a blank spot where I still haven't covered it yet, which goes right above Saw 5. And then it's Saw 2. And then there's a blank spot. Okay? So the last couple movies littered in the mix of everything. So just stay tuned. Like I said, we're going to make this very lively, very interesting. Hopefully you guys are definitely enjoying this. You could already anticipate the wrap up on which Saw is the worst, which Saw is the best. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the like button, all that good stuff. You already know what it is. I don't got to tell you. Peace.